It's Friday, the 10th of June, 2022. Welcome to the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories to rip through in 5 minutes. Story number 1, bank stocks have been dumped by investors. Apparently, they're fearing an outbreak of bad debts in the sector because interest rates are rising.
Yes, the sell-off has been quite remarkable since the Reserve Bank pushed up the official cash rate by 50 basis points on Tuesday. Since Tuesday morning, Westpac's share price is down 10%, including 3% yesterday. Commonwealth Bank and National Australia Bank share prices are off 9%. ANZ's down 5%. The 4 are all top 10 companies and their performance has weighed on the bourse. The fall in recent days means ANZ has shrunk to be the 9th largest company behind Woodside Energy and Fortescue Metals. Previously, it was the 7th. Of course, most of us hold banks in our super funds, so this really matters. Normally, banks are supposed to benefit when interest rates are rising. Big lenders can use deposits as a funding base. That should help their profit margins when interest rates are rising and they're receiving more for the loans. However, investors seem to be really worried about all these bad loans coming down the pipeline. The question is, are they coming down the pipeline? Australian banks lend a lot for housing. They're very, very secure. In any case, the decision by the Reserve Bank to lift rates so sharply this week seems to have really spooked bank investors.
All right, on to story number 2. And everyone, Sean, it seems, has an opinion on house prices, whether they're going up or down or by how much they're going to go down. Here is an opinion we probably should listen to. The country's biggest home lender, Commonwealth Bank. They think Sydney house prices will fall by 11% this year and Melbourne prices will drop 10%.
No one should know the market like the Commonwealth Bank, Michael, so you're right, we should listen. It believes prices will not only fall this year, but in 2023 as well, and across the 2 years, homes will fall by about 18%. The group's head of Australian economics, Gareth Aird, said the RBA's decision to raise the cash rate by 50 basis points this week indicated the board was front-loading the tightening cycle, and that will hit house prices hard. Brisbane and Adelaide houses will appreciate this year, Mr. Aird said, but then drop around 10% next year. Hobart, Canberra and Darwin are all expected to decline slightly this year and then tumble 9% in 2023.
All right, on to story number 3. Sean, there's been a big emergency meeting this week between the federal and state energy ministers, basically looking at the energy crisis that we're in and also the plans for the future. They've released a communique after the meeting. It's interesting that renewables and storage don't really get much of a run.
Yeah, it's somewhat surprising given renewables and storage are very much the future of energy. Anyway, the communique says proposed electricity market reforms will need to embrace natural gas and potentially coal while the transition occurs, and if we want to avoid blackouts. It outlines an 11-point plan and gives the Australian energy market operator the power to buy and store gas. Energy Minister Chris Bowen said the meeting had made good progress in tackling the energy crisis, but he was very dismissive of nuclear energy, which some federal nationals have been pushing. My take on this, Michael, is that the governments, that's state and feds, are becoming much more pragmatic about the transition. Gas is here for a long time yet. The greater unknown is just how much support Canberra and state governments will give renewables, including battery storage players.
All right, story number 4, Sean. It seems like we're always talking about Crown Resorts, but there was a big development yesterday. The Victorian and New South Wales casino watchdogs have given the green light to Blackstone's $8.9 billion takeover of Crown.
Yes, the deal is almost done since shareholders, including James Packer, have already voted for the bid. Crown's share price jumped 2% yesterday. It's now trading close to the bid price. The Western Australia regulator is expected to give its view in coming weeks. Once that's done, a court date will be set to ratify the agreement. In essence, the state regulators found that Blackstone is suitable to hold a casino licence, including in New South Wales. So that means the Barangaroo Casino in Sydney is set to open soon. Now, there have been some media reports that the New South Wales Cabinet is still debating the merits of a second casino, but I think that will get the go-ahead in coming weeks.
All right, final story. Story number 5. Anyone travelling overseas, Sean, knows how expensive airline tickets are at the moment. And apparently, there's a bunch of reasons for that.
Yes, the first is revenge travel. People have been grounded for so long during COVID, they're prepared to pay high prices. Fares this northern summer are likely to be about 30% higher. Second, there's a bunch of jets still parked around the world waiting to rejoin global fleets. That means there's not as much capacity, pushing up the price. Third, fuel prices are soaring thanks to the war in Ukraine and carriers are passing the costs on. Fourth, hundreds of thousands of pilots, flight attendants, ground handlers and other aviation workers were sacked in recent years. Not enough staff to handle demand. That's a problem. And finally, the carriers themselves need to repair their COVID-hit balance sheets. Prices will eventually come down, of course, but not while passengers are prepared to pay up.
All right, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 10th of June, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't quite enough for you, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.